Welcome into MVR, everybody. Chris Colucci here with Coach Dotson. Coach, how you doing
I'm
tonight?
doing well. How are you?
So you've been coaching with Coach Armini for a long time. How is it coaching with Coach Armini?
It's an unbelievable experience. I joined his staff back in 2015 at a young age, and over the years, the best way to describe him is he's a good coach, a great mentor, and a better friend. Over these years, as I've gained responsibility as a coordinator and some of the administrative duties that a coach would do, he's been the world to me. So I hold him very highly in my heart and his family as well. So it's been the world.
You could coach anything in the world. Why'd you pick football? What's so special about football?
When I was playing at Howland under Coach Angle and learning from his staff, you kind of get this appreciation of not only leadership but mentoring young men. And the way they treated us growing up, it's an easy way to give back. And I love being around our student athletes and having that experience that I had as a player.
How long have you been at Western Reserve? 2 years?
Second year there.
So what's so special about Western Reserve? Because it's super special. I've been around it for a long time.
Yeah.
I grew up around it. All my family goes here. What's so special about Western Reserve in the short time that you've been here?
The support of the community is probably second to none. And at a smaller community, everybody is very tight-knit, and they care about you. Whether you're coaching one sport or you're an elementary teacher or you're just an aunt or uncle of a player, they truly care and love for you. So it's easy to give that back and actually mean it. A lot of people, it's not lip service at Western Reserve. I think it's just been an unreal experience, and I love being around everybody.
Talk about community being so tight. Your coaching staff is so tight. One of your coaches is right next to us. If he could get closer, he would. He's right behind the camera. How close is your coaching staff? Coach Armini's brought this coaching staff over. You guys are super tight. Obviously, something's working. You guys are third seed in the playoffs. It's week 12. You guys are doing something right.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that Coach Armini always brings up is how we are as a staff, and we're all a big part of it. You look at who he hired. We have 2 former players that Armini and I coached at LeBray on our staff. Great young guys that are very energetic and they're very knowledgeable. Then you bring in some veteran presences like Coach Bajella, Coach Alessi, who have been coaching for 30, 40 years, that bring some of those nuances that even some of us veterans don't know. And then you bring in our offensive coordinator, Coach Snyder, from the PA lines. We brought him across state borders, and he brings a different flair. He was a Division I quarterback at Duke, so he has a ton of knowledge from that aspect. So I think that from the football standpoint, we have a lot of knowledge, but we are very tight-knit. We plenty of coaches group chats. We hang out after games. We'll go to each other's houses. We care for each other, and it's very similar to the community of West Reserve. Like, we love each other, and they love us. So I think that's why our staff is second to none.
You guys have a lot of seniors. You got, I think, 12, 13 seniors?
Yep, 12 seniors.
That's a lot. You guys have great senior leadership. You guys went, 9-2 now, because you won last week in the playoffs. Talk to me about the senior leadership and how important it is to have that great leadership.
Yeah, our seniors have done a really good job of buying in. And they, for no fault of their own, went through some turmoil early in their high school careers. They were under one head coach in junior high, then under another, and then us. So they've had a lot of changeover. And over these years, I think they've learned to groom themselves that some roles that we didn't have to do. And they're such a tough group of young men that when we tell them to do something, it's second nature to them. And I wish we could have them for more years. It'd have been nice to have them as freshmen and sophomores. To see where they are now after just 2 years, to have had them for 4, it'd have been a scary thing.
So you're the defensive coordinator. This is funny because I play Madden a lot. I'm a big Madden guy. I could cook up any defense I want because I'm a great offensive play caller when it comes to Madden. When it comes to defense, but, oh, yeah, cover 6 covers the most. It's got a bunch of zones. It covers the most. What's so special? Why do you like coaching defense so much?
I think it's aggressive. I think it gives you the ability to almost call an offense on defense. It's easy to maybe sit back in zone or just say, hey, we're going to man everybody and we're going to line up like this. We like to be aggressors. So we can line up in multiple fronts, multiple coverages, multiple blitzes, and it's tough to defend. Mm-hmm. So, it's almost like a transition basketball. We're offense on defense. Mm-hmm. So I think that aggressiveness is why I enjoy it so much.
Who, you got a lot of seniors. Talk to me. Who are your standouts on defense? Obviously, Hemberger.
Sure.
Let's talk about him first. He's just a stud.
Nate is a very special talent. Coach Armini and I were very fortunate. We've been around Nate for several years. So he was an All-Ohio linebacker as a freshman and only played half the season. So it shows you when people see the 160 tackles he has already and where he's at, how far he's come, it's almost too difficult to explain. How we feel about him and how he's improved from his freshman year to now, and to think that he's only a junior doing these things. Mm-hmm. But he would not have that success with the rest of our defense. I think we have a defensive line that is big, physical, and they have some deceptive athleticism. We have Nate Facillo, Fisher Himes, who you'll talk to in a bit, Isaac Burnett, Andrew Hendricks, Jackson Young. We're able to go 6, 7, 8 deep on that D line, and you don't miss a beat. And then you look at some of our other linebackers. You have Jack Darney, who's an excellent athlete. You have Joey Sigworth, who just stuffs the run in the box. And then you have a very opportunistic secondary with guys like Luke Henning and Chris Pater and Don McCarty that'll go get the football. And those guys, it's nice that we not only have great seniors on our defense, but we have some underclassmen that have really stepped up and will continue to pave this way in the future as well.
Guys have been very successful in this season. How important is it doing really good in your conference, in your out of conference, going into the playoffs?
Sure. No, it's vitally important. I think our entire conference can say that it is a meat grinder.
Yeah.
We beefed up our non-conference schedule playing Malvern, who's still in the playoffs. We played Kearney at a much bigger team who's still in the playoffs. Played Columbiana, who made the playoffs. But then you get into your conference play, and you played some physical football teams in Mineral Ridge, in Springfield, in Lowellville, who we now have a rematch against. And a lot of those teams, I think what helped motivate our guys was some of those games we were on the wrong side of last year. So I think that added some extra motivation for us both offensively and defensively to get after it. And I think that has helped in our success.
You guys play Lowellville this Friday night. As a defensive coordinator, how important is it? You kind of already seen their offense going into this game planning. What do you get? What could you change? What's something that could go into this game thinking different?
Yes, Lowellville is a very athletic football team. They pride themselves on their offense, and they have a very athletic quarterback in Michael Balone. They have some athletes in Lucido, Dabney, and a pair of running backs. And I think that we were pretty successful the first time around. I think we did a nice job stopping the run. We chased them to the air a little bit more, and we were able to get a few turnovers off of that. The goal is still the same there. You still ultimately have to stop the run. But I think where they are much more successful now is they've done a nice job getting Balone out in space, letting him take off and run and having some design runs. So we have to do a good job of keeping him in the pocket, bottling him up, and I think we've had a pretty good week of practice, and I'd like to see that carry over into Friday night.
How important is it in Ohio playoffs? Ohio football, I think, is one of the top 5 toughest states for high school football. You got California, Florida, Texas, all the big states, and then there's Little Ohio. How important is it to have 2 home playoff games in the playoffs?
Super exciting. When you can get your community at home just for one playoff game, you see everybody rally around you. But to have the opportunity to have a second, I think it amplifies. Now you have a second round game where, we always said growing up, and we preach it as coaches, that as you get closer to the state championship, when the air is rare, it is almost the saying goes that the fans will be a little more excited, which amplifies our players. I think it amplifies the visitors as well because they're fans. You don't want to see it end. And, win, lose, or draw, careers are going to end within the next month. So it's like I think, it's the hunger to not end your season on Friday night. It's to keep going. And I think everybody buys into that.
Coach, great interview. Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you
luck
for having
Friday
us.
night.
Thank you very much.
You guys are going to do great. See big things, I hope.
Thank you.